I am starting the recording now.
So welcome to HAVIN's Home for the Holiday Workshop. We're glad you're here. Who all is here now?
Friday, December 11th, 2021. Item view mode select box. So each guide invoice docs. This meeting is being recorded. Each guide invoice docs dash protected view dashboard.
Okay, we're hearing somebody's screen reader reading there.
Yep, let's see. We have in the room with us now. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We have
Hi.
Christy Braille, Freddie, Laura, Ned, Michelle B, Kathy,
Okay.
and that's about it. Welcome, everybody.
We're off to a good start. We're glad you're here today, and it's a fun time of the year, especially with all the festivities and decorating that go on. How many in here have already started decorating for the holidays? I mean, it's the 11th today, so if you hadn't, you're on a 2-week notice here. Anybody not started? Anybody not decorate?
No, we all decorate. I just got my tree out today, so it's the 11th, and I got it out of storage, pulled it out. So I'm going to get started today. Probably it'll take me through tomorrow. I should be done by Monday.
Well, I'm going to be honest. We started just this week. We've got an artificial tree. We pulled it down from the attic, and here's one of my points about decorating. A lot of times, you know, the holidays are for family. If you've got family, joint activity and doing something together. I don't know where anything is in our attic. I'm afraid to step off and go through the ceiling, so I don't go in the attic. But I have a nice, agile teenage son who goes up and brings the stuff down, and I'm on the ladder of the attic. I take it from him and bring it on down. So that's a lot of, around here, around our house, that's the beginning of the process is teamwork and doing things together, which makes the holidays fun in the beginning, throughout the holidays, and on the other side of the holidays, taking it down and putting it away. So making it a group outing, a family outing, that's the fun part.
Absolutely. I'm ashamed to say, Ron, 1 year I still had my Christmas tree up in March. So that, I was so embarrassed. And that was a real tree. It was such a fire hazard. I could not understand why I waited so long, but I have artificial tree too now, so I don't have that problem any longer.
Well,
One of the things I like about what we're doing right now, Ron, for all of you that are here with us, is that we have tips and suggestions for holiday decorating and so forth. But I'm really interested in getting your all's opinions and different ideas that you guys may have as well. So as we're giving our tips and decorating suggestions, please feel free to add your input, because I'm a decorator. I love to decorate, but there's a lot of things that I can't think of on my own. So I'm interested to hear everybody else's input as well.
And something Victoria and I have talked about, she and I are both totally blind. There's also a different perspective for someone who is low vision. And one of the things that we came across when preparing for this workshop was considerations for a low vision Christmas tree. So for someone in your family who was low vision, and I'll be honest, I hadn't thought about that before, because if you have some visual impairment where different colored lights or the blinking lights cause you problems, then that might not be the right thing to do. So taking into consideration of your needs isn't just as important as anyone else. I know our Christmas tree, when we put it up, like say, I'm It's an artificial tree, so it's putting the tree together, putting it up, and getting the lights on, getting the decorations on. And what I like about decorations, outside of just plain balls that are hanging on the tree, most of the ornaments we have are very tactile. Some are metal or wooden cutouts or little figurines and even plastic ones, but some are little photo frames. And I may not know exactly what's on the photo frames. One of these decorations that we have is one my parents gave our son, which has a recording, and it had my mom and my dad both on there talking to my son. But it's a personal gift, and it's in that case very blind friendly because you have a message on there. It's personal, and you get to hear the person's voice as well. So
yeah, that is an interesting gift. That is good, because usually when my kids have made, and I still have them, my kids are well into their late 20s, the the ornaments that they make in school using popsicle sticks as a picture frame and stuff like that, which I still have, but they are very visual. But the audio aspect of that, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's just, and I'd like to say just the most recent technology, but it's not. That was, Austin's 19 now, and that was when he was maybe 4 or 5. So, it's something that's been around, that makes it accessible, makes it personal. And, when we decorate the tree, like I say, it's a family thing. I don't always, I can't give my opinion to say, yeah, that tree, everything looks like it's in the right place because, well, I'm blind. But I do help, partly because I'm the tall one with the long arms, and I'll help string the tree with the lights. We'll pass the lights around as we're stringing the lights up and pass them around. I'm reaching one arm behind, one arm in front, passing the string along to my wife and son, and we'll get the whole tree decorated that way with the lights first.
Well, funny thing is, Ron, when I decorate with my grandchildren who are all little people. So we're decorating and all the ornaments are gone. And then I have another adult sighted person that comes in, and all of the ornaments are at the bottom of the tree. Like everything's bundled up at the side. So I'm like, so I forget that, they're only going to put where they can reach. And so I said, okay, so for future years, I know, even though I can't see, I can feel to see where the A bulb is, and then I kind of can feel where one is not. So I kind of fill them in that way. So I don't have a tree that's everything at the bottom or on one side of the tree. So, but that stringing of the lights, I actually did that for many years, but now the one that I purchased last year, it has the lights already included on the tree. So when we take out the tree and we fluff it all out, all we have to do is plug it in, and it's voila, my tree is already lighted. So I have not done the stringing of the lights in a long time, but I'm thankful for the automatic lights that are on the trees as well. So does anybody else have any tree decorating tips or suggestions that they would like to share with anybody? Because I know, this is kind of the biggest thing for decorating is the tree, even though I have other things to share with house, decorating your home and all around the tree. But, that tree, that can be kind of challenging for us visually impaired, because it was challenging for me as a sighted person. So you can imagine how much more it is now.
Can anybody hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hey, Laura.
I didn't remember if I was muted or not this time. Since I have a dog who quite, she weighs about 50 pounds and she's in the house part of the time. We don't have a tree. What I have is usually outdoor lights and an outdoor blow up nativity scene, outdoor blow up dog. So, but this year, I haven't decorated because my handyman has been sick all week with some form of crud that's going around.
Oh, wow.
So I don't have the sighted help that I need.
Well, Laura, when he puts those out, do you help him in any way, or do you just trust in his judgment that he's putting it where you want it?
I'm afraid I've just been trusting him because that's quite visual.
Yeah. And
I've just not had a way to deal with, because it's all this stuff is electric. It's all the blow up stuff has been blown up with an air compressor, and it's all plugged into it's all set, the lights are set by a timer. So I'm afraid that's a little out of my league.
Well, I know when our son was small, we were always the champions of the blow ups, the inflatables in the yard, because you know it's a nice, colorful, full featured decoration that didn't take a lot of work, and part of my job was to physically helping out on getting it set up, getting it anchored so any wind didn't blow it away. But also, we didn't leave it inflated during the daytime. We'd turn it on at night when it was, with the light on it. But during the daytime, it was usually uninflated. And the funny thing was, when he used to come home from school, he wanted it inflated. He wanted to look at it out there in the yard. Okay, let's go plug it in. Come on, bud. So,
So Ron, did it get did it deflate every night, or when you turned it off?
When you unplug it, the compressor turns off.
Okay.
It's got a constant fan that keeps it inflated.
Oh, okay.
It's got its own motor. So, and those are convenient because, we had a couple of different ones. We had Snoopy and Charlie Brown, also Winnie the Pooh and his whole gang, excuse me, which, obviously kids love, and just, and when it was inflated, I always had to go check it out. I had to feel, okay, yeah, this is Pooh, and here's Tigger bouncing this crazy stuff all over the place. But it's very tactile, very blind friendly, so that was very helpful for me to kind of visualize what this presentation was.
I've looked at my blow-ups before, in past years. I've lived by myself since 2011, basically since 2011, and I've had to have somebody put it up for me and take it down. But it's all my stuff has been inflated and deflated by a timer.
Okay, look at you. There you go.
It's all
right.
Timer.
That's awesome too. So does any, while we're on the Christmas tree, before we move on to some of the home decorating stuff, does anybody else have anything they would like to add to Christmas tree tips and decorating, and maybe outside decorations or anything to those effects?
Or the low vision aspect, because it's not something that either you or I can speak to. So
exactly, we definitely would welcome that as well. Yes.
And if you have a question, I mean, even if it's even if you don't have an experience to share, if you've got a question, we've got a good pool of candidates here to help brainstorm ideas and solutions. So.
Right. And that's what I love about this too, because we have different, there's a lot of different minds here. We are all coming together. What about that star on the top of the tree? There's so many times that I do not even put anything at the top of my tree. I mean, I don't have a valid reason, but other people said that there were different things besides an actual star. Do any of you have anything besides a star that you put as the ornament for the top of your tree? And if you do, you can just unmute and kind of just share with us if you would like. I know traditionally it's a star. I think I've seen somebody have an angel up there before, but I'm interested to see if anybody else has any different things at the top of their tree. Ron, what do you have at the top of your tree?
Well, we have a star now, but what I always liked growing up, because my mom's German, so we had a lot of German influence on our ornaments, and they were a little different than a lot of the things we'd get over here. One of the things that we always had, it was a blown glass ornament, not ornament, but a treetop, and it was more of a spire, more of a, what do you call it? It was about 6 or 8 inches tall, and it was metallic colored finish, red or blue with silver trim. And, it was, start out with a circular base and, maybe a few inches around. And then it came to a cylinder that came up to a point at the top.
That's what I was like. That's what I was thinking, like a cone, like almost like, I think I've seen that
almost
before.
like a cone.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what that is.
And, I mean, because they have very elegant ones, 10 or 12 inches long, that, very colorful, very pretty. And I always like those. I just don't know that have seen those in a long time.
Yeah.
Usually it's stars or angels.
Well, I didn't one year, and it wasn't because, I didn't want anything on there. One year, I didn't have anything. And so my daughter actually put a Santa Claus, a stuffed animal, like it was a stuffed, and she said he's just sitting up there waiting and watching over everything. I said, okay, well that was different, but it was better than me having to go and find and purchase something new to put up there for that year. So Santa stood up there. He sat there watching over everything the whole the whole Christmas season. So
very cool.
Oh, great. Anybody else want to share?
When I was a kid, I used to make Christmas trees out of any kind of stiff paper that I could find. Even Braille paper would do. I would roll this paper up into a cone shape and tape it together and set the base of the cone down on a table or a piece of cardboard or whatnot. And I would make a paste out of ivory snow, which is a laundry detergent, and water, a thick paste. Then I would cover this paper Christmas tree cone shape with this ivory snow and water paste. It was all white, like snow, I guess. And then I would, since it was sticky, I would stick Christmas balls on it. My Christmas tree.
Cool.
That is so. I can totally visualize that. That sounds so neat.
It was
fun. Yeah. It's a great decorating idea, and you can make a lot of those and put them all around the house. Even that is neat. So, thank you for sharing.
Another one I could do was I'd get a hold of some styrofoam balls, or even pine cones would do. But styrofoam balls were easier, and I'd poke toothpicks all around in these styrofoam balls. And by the time you get through doing that, it almost looked like porcupine quilts. Somebody cited would put glue and glitter all over these things. And then there would be a pipe cleaner stuck in one of them, and then they make a hook with a pipe cleaner and hang it on the Christmas tree.
Now that's neat. That's interesting as well. Thank you again. There's a few people that have joined us, and we've started off and we were just kind of sharing some tips.
Hi, Christy.
Hi, Christy.
Hi.
Christy.
Christy, just give me 1 second, hon. I just wanted to let the new people know what we're doing, and we're just kind of discussing right now for everybody that joined about the Christmas tree tips and suggestions for decorating your tree or anything that you have related to that. And we're going to be sharing home decorating tips in just a minute. So if anybody has anything that they would like to add, please feel free. I got Christy here up, and then after Christy, I heard you, Ned. Welcome to both of you. So Christy, we'll go ahead. What would you like to share, hon?
I used to, when I was a little girl, all through school, I used to make hanging tree products. And I would always, when I was done, I would always make them put like ribbon around it and then hang it from my tree. One year I remember making a Santa Claus, and that was nice. It was just like a little ornament. You hang it from your tree and you got to paint it. And I think I even put glitter on it.
Cool.
That sounds awesome. Yes, it does. And actually, and for later, we will be giving tips and suggestions on how to make an ornament that are great gifts ideas as well. So you guys hold on for that one, because those always, even the ones that you made, Christy, they're great gift ideas as well. Because I don't know if you guys have got them before, but every year somebody gives me an ornament. So they're just great gift ideas. So thank you. Ned, are you still with us?
Ooh,
Was it Ned? I thought Ned.
Yes, I'm
This is-
here.
Okay. Did you want to speak? I thought I heard you say earlier, this is Ned.
No, I didn't say a
Oh,
word. I'm
sorry.
I'm listening, but
I just wanted to hear your voice, Ned. I'm sorry. Hello, Ned.
well,
That's
but
all I
hi.
want.
But one year I did leave my tree was up in March.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, that's so bad of us, Ned.
Yes, that happened to me one year. It just
Well,
got
glad to
away
know.
from me. So I
Yeah,
think
I'm
it
glad I'm not
happens.
the only one. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Thank you for stepping up with me.
Now, I believe Aaron's saying something here.
Aaron?
This is Freddie.
Oh, Freddie. Is
Yes,
that Freddie? Oh, okay, go ahead, Freddie. Sorry.
I wanted to make a comment. When I was growing up, we used to put candy canes, real candy canes for ornaments on our tree, on our artificial tree. And I remember doing that.
Yeah, that's a kind of a good tradition. I've done that a lot of years. When my kids were younger, when you do the candy canes, you can actually day by day notice those candy canes missing more and more
Yes.
as each day. So those are great, but they usually don't last through Christmas. So, but they
Yes.
do make your tree look pretty.
Yes.
Okay, was it Aaron? Was Aaron still, was he trying to say something?
Yep, my name is Aaron, just to let you know, and I'm from Canada.
Hi,
And
Aaron.
I love decorating my tree with like ornaments and bells and other stuff.
Yes, I love the bells too, especially for us blind people. We can totally hear those bells. I love, not that your tree jingles or anything, but you just, I just love those bells on there. So yeah, that's a good idea too.
You know, Freddie commenting about the candy canes reminds me. Like I say, I'm half German, and one of the things that my mom introduced us to was a German tradition. They were hanging different candies, and they would make candy ornaments. And it's nothing fancy, but just a like a ring-shaped piece of chocolate, and they would come in boxes with the string already on them, so you can hang them on the tree. And some of those were very ornamental. It was chocolate with lots of different sprinkles. They were in different
decorated,
shapes.
really pretty.
And
yeah.
Just like the candy canes, as it got closer to Christmas, there were less and less of them things on the tree.
Yes. And with my kids, of course, nobody touched them. I'm like, who's eating the candy canes? Not me. So they were just disappearing. One time my son said that Santa came last night and got a few. I said, here's so that's now Santa was taking them throughout the day. So that's awesome.
This is Ned.
Go ahead, Ned.
Yeah, speaking of making ornaments, I remember as a kid stringing popcorn. And it would take, I think Mother did that to keep us busy, but because it would take a lot of popcorn to make it.
Oh, yes.
But,
I was wondering if people still
fun.
do that.
Well, that was in the last century. That was in the last century.
But that's still, no, but I remember that too. And that used to be fun, where you take the needle and the thread and you string it and then you hang it around your tree, right?
Correct. You'd run it around the tree up.
Yes, I remember that now. The thing, and I was thinking about that earlier as I was going through different, things that we can decorate with. And I'm thinking, it seems like the popcorns today don't come as big as they used to. And I'm just trying to see where you would stick that needle through without it all crumbling up into pieces. So that was.
And the other thing I remember, this was, the lights were pretty primitive, and you'd plug your string in to see if all your lights were lit. And if they weren't lit, I remember my mother and dad sitting and unscrewing every bulb and putting in a new bulb
to get the one that's
yes, because when you found the burnt out bulb and put in a new bulb, then all the string would light up.
Right. Yes.
So I remember that being really frustrating for them to find the burnt bulb. Yeah,
yes, I remember
so
that
that
as
really
well.
kind of dates me. So
yeah, no, I don't know. They may still do that now. Who knows?
Dating a few of us here.
Right. Yeah.
In series, and so if one bulb was out, the whole thing was out.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
You got to figure out which one of those it was. Boy.
Right. So do any of you do the I'm here. I don't know how cold it gets, but do you guys do the outside lights and the hanging of the lights on the houses and things like that? Does anybody do that anymore? I know that used to be a big thing.
I do a gift exchange.
Oh, the gift. Oh, yeah. Well, I love those as well too.
Yeah,
those
they're fun.
Yeah, they are.
One of the things we do, we have bushes around the front of our house, and I think this is a neat thing and very convenient, is lights that are already on a web netting.
You just throw it over.
You just pull that over your bushes, and it makes it easier than trying to string them through the branches, and and the netting is pretty invisible. So
right,
that was pretty cool.
Well, I know one year I had so my sons, because of course I'm not going to get up there and put stuff on the roof and all that stuff. So they got the lights. They said, "Mom, we got your lights." I said, "Oh, okay, good." So then another friend comes over and she was like, "Oh, you have white lights this year hanging." They were like the icicle lights that were hung down. And I was just so upset because I love colorful lights. And I just think it's Christmassy, it's holiday, it's just more, it just brings a little flavor than the boring white lights. And so my son's like, "Well, you can't even see it." That's not the point. If that was the point, I wouldn't have the lights up there in the first place. So I made them go and get me some color lights and take down those clear lights. And I wanted a colorful house, not a white house. So I did that. I also do them in the windows. I put the lights in the windows as well, tape them up around the outside of the window so people can see the light, the colorful lights, especially if my Christmas tree is not in front of the window. So I do those as well.
Well, you were talking to me about something else you use, Garland.
Yep, I was ready. I'm ready for that one.
I'm pulling you in.
I am, so when I go to, and everybody always says, why do I buy so much? Because I go to Garland and it's very inexpensive, right? So I'm like buying 6, 7, 8, maybe up to 10 packages of Garland that comes. And if you guys know the Garlands, we used to back in the day, we use them to wrap around the tree, and they come in different colors and so forth. I pretty much, you still can do that. I don't do that anymore. Now I have Garland all around my house. Every banister that you can wrap around, I wrap Garland around that, and I'll do different colors. Every, what is it, column in my home, anything that's just small, I'll wrap it around there. And I kind of do it in a, almost like a candy cane decoration, kind of like, it looks like a candy. Yes, exactly. So, the wall is white or ivory, and then I do the red around it. So it looks like I have a bunch of candy canes around my house. For the fireplace, I do them in like little hoops that just go, across the fireplace, and then I'll put a ribbon, a bow in between each one of the hoops, or I'll put a bell, because I do like bells as well, and I think Ned brought those up. I do love the bells, and I'll do just the garland hanging, and I even do the garland on my lampshades, to where I'll just cut like maybe, well, I have a big lamp. It's probably about I'll use about 2 feet, and I will tape or tie. Usually I tie, just because I don't like messing with the tape, onto, the lampshades have the little metal bars that hold the lampshade open. And so I will tie it on there, and I will have green and red or gold, whatever color my theme is that year, I will have that draped all around my lampshade and just hanging down. So I use Garland a lot, and it's very, like I said, it's inexpensive. I even do it around my dining room chairs.
Do you use the glitter?
I do use glitter as well. I have stopped using glitter as much, only because 2 days later, I'm in the store someplace, where I was at work, and somebody's telling me, you got glitter all over your face. You have glitter. But I do love glitter. Yes. But yeah, it's attached to me for the whole season. So does anybody else have anything they would do with the garland? Ron, do you use that, or?
Well, I know my mom, one of her big things, it's not as much garland as it is, it's in the style of garland, but it's like pine branches. She has some that are artificial, but she likes getting some that are, just lengths of it, and wrap it around her handrail on her front porch.
Yes.
And but also with that, you get that fresh scent.
Yes.
That those of us with artificial trees, we don't always get that fresh scent of the pine tree, the fir tree for Christmas. So that's always a welcome thing. And a lot of times she'll have it over her doorway into the kitchen or into the den. She'll have strings of that put up in her home too. So I always thought that was very, it was pretty, but it's also helped set the scene just by the scent.
Definitely. And the garlands that they have nowadays, now I don't only use the little fuzzy bushy garlands. They have garlands with beads. They have, in every other bead, every few inches, there'll be a star or different. There's so many different decorative ones now that I'll put all over as well. So, I've had some with little doves on them, white doves. There's just so many different ones, just depending on the themes that people want to do in their home. And I do have a solution for us and call them fake tree people, because that's what we are. We're fake tree people. Because I miss the pine smell. And that's one of the things I loved about the pine, the real Christmas trees, is that smell. And so there is a spray, a Christmas tree spray that you can spray that gives that pine scent. It doesn't last as long as this next thing that does, but there is actually, and I've got it on Amazon, a Christmas tree scented candle that they have.
Nice.
and and you just walk in, and it's basically pine, but that's the smell we're looking for, right? The pine smell from the tree. So it just gives you a feel of, okay, this is really Christmas. So even though I have a fake tree, at least I can still get that pine scent. So
This is Ned.
go ahead, Ned.
For the scent, I use, in fact, I did mine yesterday, from Bath and Body Works. They have those wallflowers.
They do.
And I get fresh balsam or evergreen or wintergreen.
Yes.
And they last, I think, about 6 weeks.
Yes.
And
So,
I
is
just
that a wallflower? What's that? A plug-in?
yes, it's a plug-in. Yes.
Okay.
And it heats up, and then the vapor comes up. It's a glass bulb that goes into the plug-in, and then the heat evidently must evaporate the oil in there, and it creates this evergreen or wintergreen or fresh balsam smell. So my apartment is smelling really Christmassy right now.
Oh yes.
What's it called?
They're
Wallflowers.
yes.
Wallflowers from Bath and Beauty Works.
Bath and Body.
Bath and Body. Yeah, Bath and Body
I already
Works.
have.
And they're actually they're on sale often. And
Oh,
I
yes.
actually bought some last week. They were the refills were like $3.95, and I kind of stocked up on those. But they also
sell
also
for
make
$2.50. I get them for $2.50 when they're on
right.
sale.
Yes, and I've also they make great gifts also. Everybody, it's a great gift. They have the thing you plug in, and then you have the scents that go with them. So, and they do really work.
Great idea, because this is y'all sharing about this. One of the things, we're getting together with my mom for Christmas, and her big thing, she's don't give me anything. I've got too many dust catchers, and this is a great gift idea. Thank you for sharing about that, because that just clicked on with me. I'm like, I know what mom's getting this year. Thank you.
Right. Yes, they are. They're great ones. And they do. And Ned is so right. They last about 6 weeks, and they just make, I haven't used, I never thought of the pine ones. I bought the big candle, but I would prefer the wall, those scents, but they do make your house smell, and you can switch up with the seasons, a different scent. So I do love those.
Right. Well, for me, fire is scary. So how do you handle lighting a candle and not making a mess or burning yourself down?
No, you're right. Cause I usually turn it over. I can do it I can only start it one time. That's it. After that, so I have a 14-year-old daughter who I make do the candles.
The fire starter.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I like those wallflowers, because I don't have to deal with that. So I'm so glad you brought that up. I never thought to think they had the winter green scents and the fragrances that are for, Christmas time.
Yeah, this is Sarah. Hi guys.
Go
I've
ahead,
been
Sarah. Hi,
multitasking.
Sarah.
Hi, I've been eating while I'm listening.
That's okay.
So now
Now
I'm finished. And so now that you guys are on the favorite part of the holidays for me is the scents. And thanks, Ned, because I got those very scents. They have about 6 different holiday scents for the wildflower plugins, and I love them. And the cool part about their plugins is sometimes they don't work. All you have to do is take them to the store, and they will gladly replace them. You never have to buy a replacement plug-in. You know how sometimes, I mean, I've been using them for years and years and years, but you plug it in and you don't smell it, and you go, what's wrong with it? And all I do is I took some in about 3 weeks ago, and she gave me 4 new, asked me what kind, they're different shapes, color of the plugins. And then of course they had the scents on sale. So I came away with, essentially, 4 new, plugins, and then got the bottles for $2.50, and the balsam is awesome. Oh my gosh, you feel like you're in Wonderland. But
what are the other Christmas scents? Because I know
can't
fresh
remember.
balsam.
And there's Joyous Christmas. There's one that's cookies and
gingerbread.
Wow.
reddish or something. They have cute little names, but I have them all over the house. So not only do you, plug it in by the tree, but every room of the house, can have a different kind of holiday scent. And they usually do last a good, 30, 60 days. And you don't have to worry about them, they're not going to overheat. So that's cool.
Right.
But since we were talking about scents and I jumped in a little late, did we talk about scented pine cones?
No.
Because you can get those at Hobby Lobby and Michael's in a bag. A lot of them have cinnamon scents. And there's another one that had like I guess it was kind of a nutmeg, spicy, pumpkin spice kind of scents. But you put them in I like to put them in a bowl with different colored little, decorative, ornaments. And voila, again, you have that little cinnamon kind of scent. But yeah, Hobby Lobby and Michael's is usually where you can grab them in the bag like that.
And
so
Sarah,
and then those scents will last a good 30 days.
Yeah, that brings me to that. You can use that to, you said you put them in a pretty decorative bowl. You could probably get some potpourri, throw some in, just make it a little holiday.
Yeah, exactly. And then
a
sprinkle
holiday
that, and just
decoration.
make your little kind of centerpiece. I'll usually use it just on the centerpiece on the coffee table or,
Right.
where a lot of people are gathered. But no,
That's
those
a
are, I just
great
love
idea.
scents where you just
Right.
walk in and it just gives you that sense of home.
Right. And I
Right.
like that too, especially, being that I'm totally blind. I can't really see my decorations as soon as, even though I know they're there. But when I get that smell,
That
when I,
scent tells you, I'm
yes, you just,
here.
Right,
it's
you're
almost
right there.
right. That like a clean house. You walk in, your house is clean, you
Exactly.
get that. But
Yeah,
this one, I want to feel Christmas. I want to feel the
Right,
holidays.
right.
So
Exactly.
thank you. That's a
Exactly.
great
Yeah.
idea. I've got some shopping to do this week. I'm definitely going to add those to my list.
Y'all are motivating me here. So
Yeah,
thank
me
you.
too, Ron. I am too. And I'm a decorator. And I'm like, yes, I've been in some good tips today. So thank you. Sarah, did you want to share anything? Because we were talking earlier about, Ron and I really don't have the insight for because we're both, totally blind, but low vision. Is there anything low vision insight that you have for decorations that might be, useful to those that are low visioned or
Well, I probably would if I were more of the DIY kind of
I
decorator person.
know.
But
That's what, yeah.
I'm one of these that, I have family and friends that, can go take something and it comes back and it's gorgeous. And I'm
Right.
going, thank you. I could have never done something like that. So I buy mine already made, everything
Right.
just, okay, how does it look, feel, and everything?
I want to ask something, and I know, Sarah, you and Ned both have some useful vision. I don't know who else does, who's here, but one of the articles that I read in preparing for today was a woman who wrote about writing, not writing, but designing a visually impaired friendly Christmas tree. And she talked about the way the lights work better for her. If I'm not mistaken, she had, almost different rows of lights for her to see it better at different parts of the tree. And also talked about that, like for her, it worked better if the lights were not blinking because that really threw off her vision when they were twinkling on and off. And one thing that I liked about it is that it points out that this is not a one-size-fits-all world. What works for one, it wouldn't work for her with the twinkling lights, where for others it may not be a problem at all. But I thought that was a good perspective to bring in here.
Right. Well, when my son was much younger, we would mix them in with the stable lights as well as the twinkling, type of lights, just so especially when the lights, as it, gets darker in the evening, it just gave it a better feel. But in the past, probably 10 years, especially with me losing more and more of the vision, we've gone to the artificial trees that are pre-lit. Those I love because I can clearly, they're all perfectly lit and aligned. And, I can either choose to put tons of ornaments on it or none at all, and it still works, you know. So that's what I do. Again, I told you I keep it simple.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
you
right
know,
there with
that
you,
all I
Sarah.
got to do is plug that puppy in, and
Right.
there's a switch on the tree that goes
Yes.
click up, and
Well,
I'm done,
Right.
and there we go. So
that's
I
what
think
Victoria
especially,
was talking about,
Yeah,
getting a
I
tree
love
with
it.
lights already on it.
yeah,
Yes.
pre-lit. Yeah, I
Yep.
love those pre-lit trees,
Yes,
but
I do
they've
that as
become
well.
so expensive and
Yeah.
everything. But definitely they look great. You know, if you want to just kind of balance it with all of the proper lighting, because
Well,
you know.
Sarah, let me speak on that expense part a minute, because I thought about that too when I spent $89 for my pre-lit tree last year, right? But then I thought about when you go to get a tree, you spend $40 to $50, but you spend that every year, and it could
Right,
be up to
that's true.
$60. And
Right.
it could, and then you do that every year, where these trees, and before I had my pre-lit tree, I did have another artificial one. I had to wrap the lights around it, but I had that thing for probably about 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, it is a pretty
So
good
it's a
return.
good,
And
it's a good investment.
absolutely,
So when I got
absolutely,
that, I
absolutely.
said, hey, I'm gonna jump on this. I may come out the pocket more right now, but
Yeah.
For the future,
But you
I'll
do
look
get a
at that.
good return.
hmm
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
just look at
And I
it
like
this
to
year. I
do,
don't
yeah.
have to buy one.
I know. And I love the little smaller miniature
hmm
pre-lit Christmas trees,
Oh, those are
where you
so
can put
cute.
those
hmm
around on little tabletops and
Yes.
areas that just give it a nice little different touch
That's
to it
another
too.
decorative idea,
Mhm.
and you're so right, because they
Well,
have those, and I do that too.
and also for kids to have their own little tree in their room.
hmm
I know we
hmm
enjoyed it when I was growing up.
Mhm.
It's something we did for our son as he grew up.
Mhm.
That fascinating to sit there and just watch the lights on your Christmas
Mhm.
tree in your room, and
Right.
Mhm.
I think that's a nice personal touch
It
for
That
is.
is
a child.
cute.
Yeah, that is cute. Actually, we went to San Antonio this year for Thanksgiving, and my grandniece is 3. And I thought this was the cutest idea. They have the big pre-lit tree, in the family room, but, 3-year-olds always underneath tearing up, pulling down there. So they decided, someone gave her a gift of a Velcro-shaped Christmas tree that all you did felt like you taped it on the wall. They had it in the family room. And then it had
hmm
little, the little Velcro stickies of bulbs,
The
different
ornaments.
shapes and
Oh, how
ornaments. And then they
cute.
would tell her every day when she come in from, school or daycare, you can go and decorate your tree. And they had a few little, tiny, tiny gifts. And so she would
hmm
decorate the tree. And then when she'd go to bed, they take the bulbs off. I mean, put the little
Oh,
thing back. So she would always come back and she'd do it differently. But it was the cutest idea because it kept
Huh.
her occupied, and that
right.
was her own tree. And so they said they're going to put a lot of her gifts the night before Christmas under her tree, and then still have
Yes.
some under the bigger one. But she had her own little personalized tree right there in the family room by the bigger tree. And so she knew, this is
Yeah.
my tree. I get to decorate it any kind of way I want. So, and then they even let her cut out some of the different shapes, and all they did was put
Right.
little
That is
Velcro
so cute.
things.
And
And I
that's
thought
what
that was the cutest idea.
it is. And that's when
Yeah.
Ron was saying about the Christmas tree in individual rooms, that
Mhm.
I was thinking about that. And you can put like maybe your main special, because every year my kids, they have a bunch of little, I call them just, whatever present stuff, cheap
Mhm.
gifts, but
Yeah,
each
but
year
it's
they
kind of the
do have
stocking
one.
stuffers, the kind of little
Right,
things that
right,
you put in the stocking
exactly.
stuffers. Yeah.
But they
Mhm.
do have one big gift, like it'll be,
Mhm.
usually it's a game or
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
PlayStation, but I would wrap that one up and put it in there under their personal tree. So when they wake up, that is definitely the first thing that they
Mhm.
see is their
Mhm.
own special
Right.
gift.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Under their
Absolutely.
Unfortunately,
And
tree.
unfortunately, I don't have any more little ones anymore. So I'll have
mm-mm.
to, hopefully
But now
somebody
you're
else
gonna have
can
to
make
get,
some.
in a couple of years, get ready for grandson.
Well,
That's kind
I
of
did,
the
but
mindset. Yeah.
nobody wants to. I tried that this year. I tried to ask them, can I have their kids to wake up at my house for Christmas Day. And
They
they're
didn't
all
want to do
saying
that.
no.
They said no, no, no.
Yes.
Well, you know what?
I
That's when Grandma has to pack those bags and go
right.
where the
And that's
Romans go. You know
exactly what
what?
I'm going to have to
There
do
you
because
do.
nobody
That's
will
what
give
we
me their kids.
every
So.
Christmas morning we make sure we head over there. We bring some Christmas
Right.
pastries,
Yeah.
something. My mug of hot chocolate and coffee, and hey, we just sit back and enjoy. It is too cool. Yeah, totally get it.
This is Ned.
Go ahead, Ned.
Does anyone do a non-traditional green tree? Like I've seen aluminum trees sometimes. And then
get out of here, Ned. You are really aging yourself.
I was going to say, I didn't know they still made those.
You remember those things? They used to have the little kaleidoscope color.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah, the little color wheel.
Red, green, and blue, and the tree would change. Boy, I am dating myself when I say that.
Yeah, because
we got to go get our Geritol, and we're gonna have to sit down and share some stories.
I'm not all that young,
This
but I've
was
never
in the
heard
60s.
of that.
No,
oh, okay.
Those it was in the 60s. That's why. Because I think something happened. Something I think health-wise, environmental-wise, or something. They stopped making them because. I remember one of my co-pastors at our church as a kid, we'd always go over there during the Christmas holidays, and they had one. I'm going, I've never seen an aluminum foil tree. Right. And they were saying, Sarah, stop talking about the tree. And, and then they had the little color pinwheel that, would give it different little iridescent kind of colors. Yeah. And then it disappeared after the 60s, when I came back from college or something, it just disappeared in the in the late 70s, 80s or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
so
I
it was
remember
basically
those.
for the 60s, it was a groovy Christmas tree, right? That's
it was. And so you could recycle it too. You just stuck it together, put it in a box and pull it out, the next year. But yeah, Nat, I had not thought about that aluminum foil Christmas tree.
Well, when I was talking about having a Christmas tree in our room, my brother and I, we had a small aluminum tree. I remember that. And, I wasn't going to bring that up. I didn't want to sound old or something. But all right, busted.
That was busted. But you know what? What do you go ahead, Ed?
This is the departure from the trees. But those of you that have children or grandchildren and grandnieces and nephews, do any of them do the elf on the shelf?
Yes, that watches you to tell you to report to Santa.
Yes.
I did that last year, matter of fact, because I did have and I knew they were going to be there with me the whole season. They were 5 and 6, and yes, that elf. And so every
the elf
time
starts talking to you or something.
No, but that elf is watching you. So if you're misbehaving, that elf is reporting to Santa Claus.
And then when the kid sleeps at night, you go sneak in and you move the elf.
And because
so the elf is in a different place.
Yes, he came back because he went to talk to Santa Claus last night.
When they wake up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he went to talk to Santa Claus and told him you were not behaving.
There was some big scam on the TV about the elf in the shelf.
But that was someone. Yeah, she was selling them and she was ripping people off
and not delivering them.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And that was
but that's the premise. Local. You move them around. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that elf, I'm telling you, it was a lifesaver. You clean up your toys. I don't want to clean up. Okay, well, that's fine. The elf will let Santa know and he'll handle that accordingly. Next thing you know, everything's getting cleaned up. So that worked for me.
Wow.
That elf on the shelf.
Wait a minute. As long as they believe there is a Santa. Now, our problem is
it's not going to work for my 14-year-old.
Older brothers or sisters
wait a minute. Yeah. What do you mean?
If the
doesn't work,
don't tell Ron that.
Wait. What are you talking about? This belief in Santa thing?
Nothing, Ron. Nothing.
There we go.
Santa is there.
Okay, just double check it.
Santa is. He is waiting. Yes, he's waiting for your letter. Hey, did you guys hear? They have a number you can call to leave a message for Santa Claus now.
And
I think there's
a voicemail from Santa.
Yeah,
it's a nice, jolly greeting.
Great.
Well, I heard that on Sight into Sound Radio today. I was listening to the radio station there, and they gave out some numbers that you can call and get a recorded message from Santa Claus.
Well, not that I've called it, but it's 605-313-4000. I
That's the
promise,
number, Ron.
that is the number.
And you can call and leave Santa your toy gift list as well.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So that
Anyway,
I think those
I'm
are
sorry I brought
awesome.
up the elf thing. I've digressed from Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Well, it's part of this. It's part
Yeah,
of the
it
decoration.
is.
It's
And
part of
that's a decoration as well. And
Yeah.
Ned, I will tell you, like you said, don't forget, because I've been caught when I did not move the elf, and my granddaughter says, I said, well, the elf, he didn't go see Santa last night. He's still in the same place. So they do pay attention to where that elf sits on that shelf. So I couldn't, I forgot about the elf. But
You know, this is a story. When I was a school principal at an elementary school, I had a first grade student tell all the first graders there was no Santa Claus. Boy, was my phone ringing off the hook from other parents.
Yes.
So I took that young man in my office and I told him that I believed in the spirit of Santa Claus. And I used the word spirit because when he grew up and said that dumbass principal believed in Santa Claus, and I said, I believe in the spirit of Santa Claus. And I said, if you dare talk about Santa again, you are going to be in deep doo-doo. Now, what have I told you? He said, if I talk about Santa Claus again in school, I'm going to be in deep doo-doo. I said, you've heard very well. And that was the end of it.
Well, for me, I have older kids, and there's about a 6-year difference in one of them. And when my daughter was about 7 or 8, they're like, that's not Santa. Mom brings all those gifts. And I wanted to I'm sorry, forgive the abuse, but I wanted to slap the mess out of him because you believed in it when you were that age. Why are you going to kill her spirit? I was just so upset.
But that's what big brothers and sisters
exactly.
do. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
I was so upset.
I can see it happening with my twin grandsons, and they have a big brother who's
older
about 6.5 years old.
Right, that's
They're
what
gonna tell
it
him.
is.
He's gonna walk up and go, that ain't happening. You know who got that.
Well, let's move this along from decorations and the like here. What about gift wrapping? Anybody have problems with gift wrapping? You have hints and tricks for gift wrapping? Because it's all about the gift exchange and giving. It's better to give than receive. Remember that, okay? It's better to give than receive.
Yes, it is.
I've heard that. I'm still trying to convince myself, but
right, me too.
Well, I take the easy way out on that with gift bags and tissue.
There we go. Gift bags and tissues.
That so fine you guys, that is fine for my coworkers at work, but for my children or now my grandchildren, I want them to have something to tear open. And that's where the wrapping comes in. So the wrapping it's not necessarily for me or for the adults, it's for the kids, because what fun is a gift if you just pull it out of a bag, right? So
I used to use Christmas paper, and now I use those big FedEx pouches, and I just wrap everything up and put everything in a bag, and there's your Christmas stocking.
Right. Yeah, that is it. Well, I will say this about the wrapping, you guys, and this really is not a blind or sighted thing. For you men, for women who have had vision in the past, if you could not wrap when you could see, you're definitely not going to be able to wrap when you are blind. So
you were shaky in the beginning, you will continue to be shaky.
I hate to tell you guys that. And when I wrap my gifts, but I was a wrapper when I could. I mean, I've been blind for 16 years, but when I love to wrap, and so when I wrap my gifts, and my angles, everything's precise, and here goes my fully sighted, friend over here wrapping, and her stuff looks like a 2-year-old did it, and I'm like, I'm like, it's just, but it can be done. A lot of tips for that is to have sometimes I run out of boxes and I try to cheat, and so my pair of socks, they're now in the bag, and I'm trying to wrap that. It's possible, but it's just not as easy as when things are in boxes.
In a box, you have those nice lines and corners, and it's a whole lot easier to wrap a box than it is something that's soft and doesn't have any seams to it. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And where, I've had to roll up, a sweater because I didn't have a box, but I did roll it up really tight and wrap that up. But one of the things with that one is, and I guess I get away with my whole, hey, I'm blind, I'm going to do it how I want to do it. But when I roll up a sweater, I use the paper and I'll roll it up in the paper and tape it. But then instead of folding the sides, I kind of twist the ends. So now this wrapping present kind of looks like almost like a Tootsie Roll. You know how the Tootsie Roll is wrapped, and then
Yeah,
you
with
have
the
the
twisted
ends hanging.
ends. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I, put a little tape around the twist so it'll hold it. But that's kind of a cheating way to wrap as well. Usually I start, Christmassy, because I'm one that does, there's no Christmas gifts under the tree until Christmas Day. So I usually spend the whole Christmas Eve wrapping. And by the time it gets 1, 2 o'clock, those gifts wrappings are looking like it's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, definitely. So that's when the gift bags come in, and the rolled up sweaters looking like Tootsie Rolls and so forth. So, yeah.
Well, I know when I had sight, my packages came out looking pretty good. They never looked as good as the ones you would get at Macy's or Dillard's.
Right.
I mean, they have
Yes.
professional wrappers. I mean, they do sharp creases and very nice packaging. Now, my brother, I don't know where he gets it, but boy, I mean, he still does those. He gets them just like they were. Maybe he's going to the store and getting this done. Because
Do they still do it at the stores?
Oh, they do. Yeah, they still
Okay.
do. You may
Okay.
pay for it.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, but they, you know, a lot of the basics for gift wrapping are still there, and they're very doable. It's very tactile friendly for the blind,
Mm-hmm.
especially if
Right.
you have a box.
Yes.
You know, like if you take a shirt box, put a shirt in the box, and or anything else in the shirt box, or whatever size box you've got, but you put that in the middle of the paper, and you fold up one side where it comes over the top, where you've got a nice seam going out. Put a piece of tape on it, hold it in place. Well, then you pull that paper up from the other side and put it over and overlap it, and then it's just a matter of run the scissors up along the tube of the gift wrap paper, and you hear that nice shh.
Right. And that's a tip too, because you do not actually, if you have a good pair of scissors, you don't have to actually open and close the scissors.
Yeah.
You can just run it all around. And what I do to keep it straight, which you guys, I've had slanted cuttings before as well. But if you keep that tube held up and you keep the insides of your, fingers pressed along that tube as you're cutting, and just
Use
hold
that as
that
your
tube.
straight edge.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And that will work. And you tape that up. And another tip is, for me, I sit on the floor, spread my legs open and put it right between my legs and do it right there. It's just that floor, you don't have to worry about anything hanging off the table, hanging off of anything. It's so much easier for me to wrap on the floor.
Then the problem's getting up off the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you just stay down there for a while until somebody can come around and help you out.
But yeah,
yes.
having lots of workspace is an important
Mhm.
part of this. If it's a wide open dining room table, if it's on the floor,
Right. Yeah.
Some good open workspace.
Right. Exactly. I don't recommend, because I've done, I'm one of those, I hide, so I have to be in my room the whole time. It's a little more difficult to do it on the bed,
Yeah.
even though it is, it's doable, but just because the bed is not, I just need the hard surface works best for me. And
Yeah,
that is
because it's
the
soft.
tip. Mm-hmm. Right. The bed is soft and is, stuff sinks in.
And then you
it's so
want to
much
lay down and
easier.
take a nap.
Right. Exactly. Especially when it's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Yes. So, but then once you have those folded over papers, so now you have these sides, and the roll up Tootsie Roll look does not work well for boxes. So I will
Right.
tell you that. So that's when you will have to actually, fold the papers over and under and use the tape a lot with that as well. So,
And something that I read makes a nice touch is if you have double-sided tape.
mm-hmm.
so they don't see the tape. It's stuck underneath. It's holding the flap down from underneath.
Right. Yeah.
Which I thought was a nice touch. It's a visual touch. It's for all the light dependent people out there. So
right. I
but-
will admit, you guys, I do take more time in, about gifts that I'm giving to others, as far as, other sighted people, than the gifts that I wrap for my children that are going to be opened on Christmas morning. I don't pay as much, precision and prettiness and all of that stuff to packages that I've just wrapped at 1 a.m. that are going to be torn open at 8 a.m. So those ones are a little bit easier to wrap, because sometimes I just have tape. Sometimes I'll poke a hole in something in my wrapping paper. Guess what? I'll take a piece of tape and just stick. I don't care where it's at on the gift. I'm just going to cover it up with that piece of tape. But yeah, those are different things. But as you have all stated with the gift bags, those are an easier avenue to go. One thing I did want to share with you guys is the gift bags. If you buy a regular gift bags that are, you can get them out of the dollar store even. You can decorate them yourselves using puff paint, or what was it, Christy, that mentioned the glitter? You can use the spray glue, throw some glitter. You can, because they sell them with the glitter and stuff on them, but you can also do all that yourself with those gift bags as well.
I just want to let you guys know too, if you're interested in the blind catalog, and in it, there's a marker which you squeeze, and it basically gives you ink, but when it dries, you can, it's puff paint. And it's really interesting.
What is that called? Do you know, Christy?
I don't remember.
Okay. That sounds pretty neat. Yeah.
It's through the American House for the Blind.
Yes,
Okay.
they do have those, and they're in pens. But even those too, Christy, I have purchased, because I use puff paint a lot for marking other things in my home and stuff. But they actually sell it at Walmart in different colors, because it is, we call it puff paint, but it's used on fabrics. It's used for crafty, for people to do crafting, crafts as well. So yeah, they also have it, and it doesn't come in the pen though. That's why I'm interested in that. It comes in a little bottle with the pointy, almost like, you guys, what the Elmer's glue looks like, and it feels like it has that little pokey thing at the top. It comes like that, just in a smaller bottle, but that's also puff paint, and that comes in a variety of colors as well. I don't really care about the colors. I don't usually just get black, but you can get them in different colors too. So yeah, puff paint is my friend.
Where would it be in Walmart? What
do you know?
section is
Do you
it
know
on?
where the craft ones, where they sell, like, they have where they do the fabrics, and they have like all the small safety pins and all the craft paints that they sell for arts and crafts and stuff. It's in that section. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So they have it, and I believe, and I believe it's called puff paint. That's the only thing and every time I've asked, do you have puff paint? I mean, everybody knows what I'm talking about. So I'm assuming that's what it's called.
And if I'm not mistaken, puff paint, when it goes on, it goes on in one shape, but like after it's,
it dries, it lifts,
it puffs, and where it gets its name, it puffs up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people use it for letters and stuff too, to label things. You can
for tactile labeling.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. And it just puffs up, and you just, you mark it down, and it looks like it's just glue, but by the time it dries, it's lifted, it's raised up.
And that was one of the things that I was going to bring up. Talk about gift wrapping, gift bags, stockings, because,
that was next. Yes.
Blind friendly stockings, because if you use puff paint, like on the cuff of the stocking, the white cuff, you can put an initial, or you can put the whole name.
Right.
And if it's with puff paint, it's tactile. Once it's there, it's on there. It'll stay. It'll be there next year when you get it out. you know, with the M or the D, it's mom and dad, or
Right.
you know, or you put your name or whoever.
Right. And Ron, and speaking of that, for one, that works. That does not work as well with those fuzzy.
Yeah, that's a
things.
hard part.
Right, but the
if it's
flat
real
ones
fuzzy.
it does. Yeah. The flat ones it works great. But also that puff paint, and it's going back to wrapping. Once you have this box, I know, you know, cited the labels, the what is it called? The gift tags are a big thing for sighted, but you know they're useless for us, right? So the puff paint can also be used for that, and I have used it where I just put their initials on the gift, and that way when I go to pass out gifts, and these are when my kids are smaller, so it's not as easy for them to be able to read gifts or for me to write them. That's the problem. It's you know,
you know,
it can.
And you're bringing up something here with the name tag thing. You know, name tags don't do a thing for us, but here's something, and in this whole vein, I never thought about this, and this came from a friend who has 8 kids, and you know, she was trying to not give away who the gifts were for, so she put different stickers, of, like characters from Star Wars. The same character, that meant that, you know, they didn't know who she was assigning these stickers to.
Right.
We could do it either way, you know, however we marked it tactily, you know.
Right.
You could put a sticker on, you know, if it's an apple for, you know, all the apples are for your son, all the bananas are for your daughter.
Oh, that's such a good idea.
And then you could put a tactile marking so you knew, oh yeah, this is an apple, so guess who gets this? All right. Well, hey, okay, I'm the apple. All the apples are mine.
Right.
So,
that
it keeps the suspense there till Christmas Day.
That is so true.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but I like that idea. I say if you've got a large family, you can keep the suspense there.
Yeah, and that's what I do. So for me, just because I'm lazy and remember I'm wrapping the whole time, I get one of those big Sharpie markers and I just write. I don't care how big it is. I don't care where it's at on the box. I just put their initial on it and I let them fend for themselves. Now, the only problem is I don't always remember if I marked the box or not. So I have to make sure as soon as I'm done wrapping, I put the letter on there. Because I've had somebody say they have both of our initials on it. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know whose that is. Then open it. I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, I usually just do that. But there are so many.
You know, even if you use different shaped name tags, and if you got square ones, rectangular ones, round ones,
that
use them for the same person, and you can just write from Santa or whatever. And well, I know by the shape, I know this is yours.
Right. Or also a Braille Labeler. If anybody uses a Braille Labeler, they can do that. I just to save the tape, I wouldn't do full names, but you know, just I would put, or I'd use a number 1, 2, 3, or 4 in age of whoever is there. All the 1s are yours. All the 2s are yours. All the 3s are yours. You know. So
or even on a gift tag, you could pop it into your stylus. Into your slate and stylus, and
that is so true.
Just pop it on there, you know.
Yeah, that is a good one. Awesome. So okay, so let's before
we have been joined by the blind diva. Hey, Naomi.
Oh, hi, Naomi. Yes, hi there.
Hi.
Hey. So, and everyone. I know we had talked before about low vision. We've talked about decorating already, and we're talking about the gift wrapping and such here as you're hearing. You have anything you'd like to join in on here from this low vision perspective?
Sure. So with me and low vision, it's necessary for me to have contrast of something light against something dark in order for me to quickly identify it. So I tend to, if I know I'm using a pair of scissors and they're black, I will go and get, I don't know, a light colored placemat or just a piece of paper, just something that's the opposite color of it. And I put it next to me. This is gift wrapping. And I'll put the pair of scissors on top of that light, opposite contrasting color thing, just so that I know where to find it, because my floors are dark. And if I put a pair of dark colored scissors on them, best of luck to Naomi trying to pick them up. So I do that. I just recently saw something on Amazon, and it is a magnetic like wrap that you wrap around your wrist, and it's very wide and broad. And you, I think it Velcros on the inside. Basically, you wrap it around your wrist until the Velcro parts meet. And inside are strips of magnets. So if you have something like magnetic that you need to use, you just drop it onto your little wrist, and you don't have to worry about it going anywhere. I thought that was kind of cool that there was something like that, because I think, like, when you're decorating the tree and the hooks are metal, so I was like, oh, if I just attach let them magnetize themselves against this thing on my wrist, I don't have to go scrambling looking for them. They're right on my wrist.
Oh, that is a good one, Naomi.
That's also a handy dandy when you're assembling a Christmas present with little nuts and screws and bolts.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And you don't have to go looking for them. They're right there. Good tip.
So I don't know how much it costs, but I just saw it recently. I think it's sitting in my basket, in my cart right now. But I thought that was pretty cool that there was, the concept is so obvious, but then,
the ingenuity though.
Yeah.
Well, Naomi, did you see anything for the same concept with tape? Because you know how many times I lose the dang tape and I can't find it, and I'm all over the house looking for the tape, and it ends up being right in my face.
Yeah, so I have a solution for that. It's a very, very simple, and you're going to say, oh yeah, as soon as I tell you, is to use an apron with pockets on it. And you just tie your apron on you, and you
put
just
them in there,
drop
right?
your tape in one pocket.
And scissors too, because same applies for scissors.
Yep, scissors, anything that you're going to be using over and over, you just drop within the pockets of your little apron and tie your apron on you.
Yeah. And men don't be ashamed, because carpenters wear aprons
yes,
too.
They do. They do. Exactly.
I worked in the cabinet shop. We wore nail aprons, so it's a manly thing too.
Yes, it is. Everyone and all the men in Home Depot and Lowe's sport them. So
right. Yes.
They're the latest fashion accessory.
Yes, it is. That's something else I use, is an apron, or that magnetic thing that I'm going to get soon, or the trick with the contrasting paper on the floor. I'm trying to think, what else do I do when it comes to Christmas time to help me? Because I still have some vision, I still sometimes rely on just touching something and, what the heck is this? Let's see. I'm trying to think if I did some lights on my tree, but I actually enlisted the help of another person. So I'm not, wrapping it myself and poking my face with the branches. I just let someone stand on the opposite side of me, and then we just pass the lights to one another.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys, if you think about it,
long arms.
Right. But if you think about it, I don't know any side, not too many people can do the lights by themselves on a tree. It's very difficult.
No.
So
it's
right.
And you were already, messing with now I'm almost injuring my eyes with the branches.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a 2 or more person activity, whether you have sight or not. I'm sorry.
Right. 100%. 100%, Victoria. Yeah. What else do I'm trying to think as far as decorate? I haven't done too much of it. Those are kind of the main things that I do. Right. I think also with just decorating in general, if I know the objects, I've got a reclaimed farm wood table as a dining table, so it's very dark. So I tend to buy lots of creams and whites or just lighter colors.
Get that contrast.
Yeah. Yes, to do the contrast. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what.
Naomi, so
Yeah.
if you had darker papers, what a good thing, like, could you put maybe like a sheet or something, or a white sheet over that table, so that would that help with the darker,
Yes,
if you had, okay, so that's
exactly.
right,
Yeah.
okay. I
And
just
then it
thought,
helps
I
with
mean,
mess too, right? Because you just
oh
grab it
God,
and wash
yes.
it.
Oh, okay. You know what I do, what I've been doing I did it for Thanksgiving, I'm gonna do it for Christmas too, is I buy a lot of those, I think they're like $1 tablecloths, the plastic tablecloths that they have. So I think, Christy, we were discussing earlier about using glitter. So when I use glitter, how it gets everywhere, I put one of those dollar tablecloths across my table. We can get glitter everywhere, make it a mess. And when we're done, I just roll it up and throw it away.
Yeah.
That way I don't have to worry about trying to wipe
Fantastic.
it down or anything like that. So
Yes, fantastic. That's a great idea.
yeah, so that's
No
a good,
glitter bomb.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. And anything, because my kid, they get glue on the table. They even get tape on the table, and I don't see it for months later, realizing that there's a piece of tape stuck to my table. So I'm like, yeah, so we'll just use this plastic thing. They're only $1, but it's worth my sanity. It's a cheap price to pay for, not having to go scrub down something. And then I use a lot of Sharpie pens when I do gift wrappings and with stuff. And if they did one of those Sharpie pens on my table, I'm gonna have a heart attack. So it's called preventing my stress. That's what I'm
Yes.
doing. So
Okay. Sounds like you're doing everything you need
right.
to do.
Yes, exactly. So well, you guys, I also wanted to touch base. I know we covered, the decorating, we covered the tips, and we have, thank you, Naomi, for your low vision insights
Thank
as
you.
well,
Yes.
which helped me. I have no vision, but it helped me as well. So thank you for those. But I just wanted to give a couple of the gift giving ideas that can be done well, mainly one that I found and I wanted to share earlier. For those that were here, I mentioned the ornaments that people give for gift, ideas for gifts that they give every year, and they're cute gifts. I enjoy having them, and you hang them right on your tree. When you're done, you put it up and you save it for next year. So they're not only, it's a thoughtful gift, but it can last for many years. So one that I came across, well, actually, sorry, Ron, I'm not trying to steal your finding this though, because Ron
Now,
found it and I thought it was a great idea, and I'm going to
I
be
don't need
doing.
any credit. You're
Okay,
good.
sorry, but I'm actually going to be doing this, and I'm excited about. But it is an applesauce and cinnamon ornament. Okay, and reading over, and we will definitely, if anybody wants this, they can. We're going to send it out to everybody. But it looks like it was like 1 cup of applesauce and 1 cup of cinnamon, I believe it said. I didn't read the instructions all the way through, and then you kind of mix it up to a paste, and you roll it out or flatten it out, and you use cookie cutters to make, to shape it into, if you all know, because I mean, there's Christmas trees, cookie cutter, different shapes of cookie cutters, and you can then flatten it out and you make it. Now, the directions say you can either let it set to dry for 24 to 48 hours, or you can bake them in the oven at 200 for an hour or so, and it instantly makes it hard and shapes it. And there you can decorate it using, oh, I'm sorry, I left out something though. They're Braille. If you are familiar with Braille, before you set it to dry, you can use a toothpick to,
Personalized.
yes, to put Braille in there. And then you can use the cloves, it said, to fill in the Braille dots that you have made. And so not only do you have a personalized ornament, but it also will smell like cloves. So kind of, which I hate the smell of cloves, by the way, but not everybody does, but it will have a clove scent to it, but you can do them in Braille. And the way that you would make the hole at the top, which I thought was neat, is you do a straw and you stick the hole at the straw at the top of your ornament, and then that part of the dough will come out. So you have a little hole there. Once it's dry, you will then be able to tie the string or a ribbon or anything that whatever you want to use to be able to hang that ornament on a tree. So I thought that was a great idea. We will send that out. If anybody has any variations of that or ways you can add to that, but Christy, I think this would be good for your glitter too, because you could probably spray it with some glue or something, the spray glue, and put glitter all over these. I think
Glitter
that
the
would be
heck
nice
out
as
of
well.
them.
Yeah, I think
Right.
that'd be cool and neat.
Yeah, so that can be glue, you can glitter it, you can decorate it. And I think this is another thing you can, if you don't want to do the Braille, you can do the puff paint on this and personalize it and, do the puff paint. Or you can use, the finger paints. I always say finger paints as a blind person, but my daughter would probably use regular paint. And you can, paint it green or paint them as well, different designs that you may have. So this is and it's also a good activity to do with others, a group activity to do as well. So,
For any of the crafty kind of people, you use a cookie cutter to get you the shape, but from then on, I mean, once it's dried,
it's up to you.
You can deck it out however you want.
Right.
You can add little beads, you can add little bells or whatever little artsy crafty kind of things you want to add to it. A little bit of glue goes a long way.
Right.
And stick it to it.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can do these to make them for your own tree, but again, these are good personalized gifts, and especially for younger kids, if you have younger kids, it's something that you would be able to assist them with in doing. And then there they have their gift that they've made for grandma or for their auntie or uncles or from a classmate or a teacher at school. That's a good gift for a teacher at school and stuff.
And it's all natural.
Yes, exactly. Oh, in the article that we read, it said, of course it is safe to eat. And it said it doesn't taste very good, but it is safe if it is eaten by younger kids or your pets or something like that. But I guess it wouldn't be applesauce and cinnamon. I think that'd be a whole lot of cinnamon to have a good taste. So you don't want to eat that. But yeah. So does anybody else have any, any crafty gift ideas, right? Yeah. Tactile stuff that you can
gift giving,
right? Because well, I know this is not tactile, or even gifty, but one gift that I always like to get, and I've given them as well. You guys know the Walmarts, they always have this big old bucket of popcorn, and there's just popcorn in it, but it's in a tin, and the tins are decorative. They're decorated in different stuff. And years ago, the tin was $5. I got one the other day; it was $7.98. But I remember them as $5. But it's filled with popcorn, and although I don't enjoy the popcorn, I use that tin to give it as I put gifts inside that tin. And I put a bow on top of that tin that's already decorated. It has different sceneries, and I give that. I that is my gift giving, my gift wrapping that is done. So there. But yeah, that was something I wanted to share because I just got one.
You just remind me of something. This going back to the home decorations when you talk about that bow. Something you and I had talked about. A lot of times, just a nice bright red bow is very festive, and you can get some that are bright and pretty. Some made of fabric, some made of plastic, and and they're pretty. I don't want to sound cheap, but cheap.
No, they are.
I mean, very affordable in that way, and like I was talking about my mom decorating with the pine boughs on her handrail, and she would put ribbons, the red bows on all, every few rails that were going up and down the vertical rails. She would tie a red bow right there on every few rails, and on the top rail she had the pine boughs going across. So
right. Yeah, and I had mentioned, and I should have elaborated then, but remember I was saying about when I hang the garland from, I loop it, I make it droop from my fireplace, and I put a red bow in between each one. And the good thing about the red bows is they are very inexpensive, but they also, they attract a lot of attention from the younger ones and stuff. And so because of they're not expensive, you don't have a heart attack when your 2-year-old nephew comes and pulls all the bows down, so you're like, it's not, it's not the end of the world, but it does add a beautiful, that vibrant color to the living room. And they're usually red. I've seen different color ones as well, but I've seen red and they're green. I've seen gold ones. So, and they are a good touch everywhere. I place them everywhere.
And and they come in different sizes too.
They do.
So who was that saying something there?
It's Chrissy again. I just sent you the calendar from NFB, the independent market.
Oh, for the pen.
Okay, thank you.
There's a couple items in there that you might want.
Okay, thank you. And
and that's a gift giving, a good gifts ideas too. So you never know, we can find something on there that purchase gifts for others too.
Like we're talking about these.
That's if you want to be generous.
But Christy, remember, it's better to give than receive. We're trying to teach Ron that.
That's right.
I'm slow on the uptake here.
Right. Yeah.
Though, there's even small bows. I mean, like, some are the multi-pointed bows, but then there's ones look like little bow tie bows. And they're all very tactile, very blind friendly, which I always like. I mean, it's if you can get different textures, some have the flocking on the ribbons,
right.
So it's almost like velvet. Some are just a nice ribbon, smooth. Some are very glossy looking, metallic. So you got a variety, and they all feel different.
They do.
Speaking from the totally blind perspective. But
I do have a tip. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to share my tip. Yes, I just wanted to share my tip with that, because they do now. Sometimes I've tried this, and tape doesn't always last. They always end up falling. So I think we mentioned these earlier, and I know you guys are all familiar with the pipe cleaners, right? And they come in different colors, different lengths. They have long ones, but especially for my red bows, I have the white pipe cleaners, and I wrap it around the middle one time, and I twist it, and then I use that to put it on, like the railings you were talking about for your mom, that your mom does and stuff. And I use that pipe cleaner to attach the bow to different things around the house. Even the Christmas tree, depending on the size of it, you can do it to the Christmas trees as well. But those pipe cleaners are a great way to attach your bows to different things as well.
Oh yeah. And easy to take off when you're done.
Yep. Yeah. And you can save them for next year too.
Yeah. Well, I know there was something that came up before after I went to the seeing eye, one of my classmates sent me a chocolate bar that was in Braille. And I think that they had been, I think they bought that somewhere, but they also have these trays now that if you melt your own chocolate or what's the other kind of stuff, like bark, candy bark that you mix up, that you can put this into these trays, and it has different holiday greetings in Braille. You can use chocolate or you can use bark, but it also leads to another way of doing something, say cookies. You can, if you like to use Braille, make cookies with M&Ms and use the M&Ms to spell something in Braille, or you can even shape them into a regular letter if you like. So, it's tactile, it's also visual, so it works both ways. So just a different variety of things that you can do with that.
Right.
I would say decorate a cupcake, but that would get quite messy touching the top of a cupcake, I think.
Mm-hmm. Sugar
So I
cookies
have
as
a
well.
tip for, since we're talking about cooking and baking and
Okay.
Mhm.
food, but it's more along the lines of adult beverages. So,
I like that.
so for me and anyone who has low vision, I found these, they're small, like they look like ice cubes, but they're not. They're plastic, and inside they have a light, and you can either set it to be a steady color or you can let it flash. And so whenever you're making drinks and you need to add ice, you add ice, but then you also add this fake ice cube that's got a light in it, just so that you can clearly, very easily find your drink if you set it down, because it's got a light flashing inside of it.
Mm. Well, Naomi, thank you for giving the shout outs to the adult beverages, but I think that could be used for any beverage, right?
Oh,
That has
absolutely.
ice in
I'm
it.
just thinking how long the holidays.
Right. I know. I'm like, I said, thank you for that one. But yeah, I was thinking that probably could be, that's kind of cool though. Even, even if you're out and about somewhere at somebody's else's home, you take that you could carry that with you, right? You just drop it in your drink wherever
Drop
you're
it in your
at.
drink.
Yeah, that seems
Oh,
kind of
you'll
neat.
be
Where do
the
you get
life of
those
the
from?
party too.
So this is
Right.
Ned. Where do you purchase the
That's what I was just
flashing
gonna say.
ice
Where do you get
cube?
that? Oh, yeah. Well, Amazon's a miracle place for everything. So yeah.
Yes, it is.
So how much are they at, Naomi? Are they kind of
They come
inexpensive?
no, not at all. They come
Mhm.
in a pack, just depending on how many you want. So it just
Right.
varies, but they're inexpensive. They're not
Yeah.
costly at all.
That sounds cool. That's great. Okay. That's a great tip. So thank you for that one. So does anybody else want to add? I know, we've been talking, we're coming towards the end of the workshop.
This is Sonia.
Oh, hi, Sonia. Go ahead.
Hi, I was just thinking about Naomi's idea. What if we had beeping ice cubes, right? That's what we need next.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good one.
Well, it could get annoying after a while, but
Yeah.
it's
Right.
cute. That sounds really cool.
It does. It does. So awesome. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to share? And it doesn't have to be about this. It can be anything holiday that we've covered, or any tips or suggestions you want to give for the holiday season.
I have a suggestion. This is Sonia. I have another suggestion.
Awesome.
Back to the wrapping. I mean, my dad is a great wrapper, and I tried to learn. And I think one big thing to do is don't scrimp on paper. You try to save paper and you end up doing it again. So it's just go ahead and give yourself the paper and, go for it. So.
Sandhya, that is such a, and that's a great point, because let me tell you, it is easier to cut off extra paper than to not have enough paper for that gift.
Believe me,
so
done it.
yes.
And taping things, y'all talked about putting the box in the middle, and really just use tape. Tape is your friend,
Yes.
and use the tape to, I think just everything needs to be tight. That's like the key. If you really want to, make it look good. As long
Pull
as
it
we
tight,
can feel
yes.
that, we can feel it. As long as it's tight, it's going to be great, and just fill those angles, so that's all
a
I have.
good point. Thank you, Sandhya. That is so true. And we didn't even mention that, but you put it so well. Make it tight. I think as long as you pull, make sure you pull that paper until you can't pull it anymore without tearing it, obviously, but it will be tight, and that, it's almost like having air pockets in something. So if you don't have it tight enough, your package is going to be all over the place. The wrapping is going to be all over the place. So yeah,
that's a great point. Thank you, Sandhya.
Well, yeah, I mean, it works for normal shaped objects and boxes, but some things are weird, and then of course you get a little you get a
wait
little
a minute, what'd you call me?
Yeah. Sandhya, that's why I tell you, at that point with the weird stuff, depending on how long I've been doing it, that
gift
package
bag.
is going to look crazy if it's not in a gift bag, It's just going to be balled up in some wrapping paper somewhere. I don't know. So,
did you guys discuss using butcher paper as wrapping paper?
No,
we didn't.
So I've actually used just plain brown butcher paper. It kind of makes it very, country style since we're in the South. And sometimes if you just use that and twine and just go outside and pick like a small greenery piece of branch and just stick it on the front, it's actually very nice looking and very easy and cheap.
That is. I mean, that sounds kind of neat. For like you said, for that country style look, that does sound good.
Nice.
This is Sandy. I have one more suggestion or thought. I mean,
no, go
this
ahead.
is kind of a bigger investment, but I mean, there is, I got into it because of Stacy and Liz about card making and so forth. And even if you don't go like all out, you can make like Braille cards, like they have kits that, you can, it tells you what to glue here and gives you the little embellishments and so forth. So you don't have to like buy all this equipment that is clogging up my closet, but you can buy a simple kit. You can buy a kit and then do it yourself and then add Braille notes, like Merry Christmas or whatever it is. And then that makes it, more personalized. So
and that's what I always say about that personal thing, because sometimes for me, you guys, I don't know, I can buy myself an expensive gift. Anybody can buy you an expensive gift, but when that special touch is put into it, that saying it's the thought that counts, it really is sometimes the thought that counts. And taking that extra step to personally make me a card, that's so sweet to me. So
it's a lot of work, but yes,
it is. And that's why that's why it's even more worth it to me, because somebody has taken the time and put in a lot of work for that gift.
And you just said it right there. It's worth it to you.
Right.
So, the worth, it's worth doing because it's important to someone.
Right. And it's appreciated, and you'll know it'll be appreciated. So I wouldn't mind putting in that extra work when I know how big of a smile it's going to put on that person's face. So, because it's easy to buy a gift, even though it costs more, it's so much easier to say, here, look, there's the bag, put in the bag, and there you go. Merry Christmas.
And this goes in line with, say, Christmas cards, because I know my mom, for those and any of us that still do some handwriting. I mean, it's been 28 years since I've seen, but I still print by hand at times. And when I make that extra effort, my mom's like, you wrote me this. It makes that impression. It's worth it because it's important to her. And just like you're talking about, if it's something that's important to you, it's worth that extra effort of doing a little more on my part to make it special for you.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. Christmas cards, I don't know about you guys. Every year I buy Christmas cards to send out. And every year, I have probably about 6 boxes in my decorating stuff right now, because
you're a collector.
Apparently that's what I do. Well, let me just add this to my collection, even though when I'm buying them, I say, oh, I'm sending out Christmas cards this year. But you guys think about it. How many addresses do we really have? I'd have to go through and get addresses. I don't really have anybody's addresses anymore. It's mostly emails. So much easier. But if I were to actually send out those cards, what a impression that would probably make for a lot of people.
This is Sunday. In olden days, we used to get, tons of cards.
I used to decorate with the cards.
Yeah, they would hang from a ribbon. There were so many. It was so beautiful too.
I used to do them. I used to tape them around my door. Going into the kitchen. What is it called? The doorway.
Door frame. Yeah.
The door frame. Yes, and I would start it at the top and then go all the way down. And so I had a door frame. So as soon as you walked in the frame, it was just surrounded with Christmas cards.
That's so pretty.
But I don't get them anymore either. Does anybody else? Do you get them?
Nobody. Yeah, it's rare. It's rare.
We get them
to myself.
But not as many as used to.
There's Peggy.
Oh, hi, Miss
Hey.
Peggy.
Hey, I've been here for a while listening to all these great ideas that you all are having.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, but I wanted to share with you now, I'm old fashioned, okay? And I still do Christmas cards every year. I
Do
don't get as
you?
many as I used to, but I still do Christmas cards. As a matter of fact, I'll be finishing them up tonight or tomorrow and putting them in the mail on Monday. But I have a list that I've had for years. And I just remove people as they need to be removed
And
and
add 'em.
add new people every
Right.
year.
Yeah.
Now, the issue that I run into, I guess maybe about 9 or 10 years ago, is that I couldn't address the cards anymore. So I started doing labels, but now I have a problem doing labels. So I get somebody to print my labels for me, and I get my Christmas. And one year I did the whole thing. They printed the label, they addressed the cards, put the return address, and even printed our name on the inside. But that was no fun. It took all of the fun out of it. So now I actually write our name on the inside, and then I put the labels on the outside. But that is, and the idea we used to do is when my kids were growing up, we would use the Christmas cards and we decorated things like trash cans, or we decorated like our umbrella. We used to have this umbrella stand that was right by the door. We decorated the cards with that, and then we hung some around the archway going into the dining room too. So they can. There's so many things that you can do with them instead of just throwing them away.
Well, Miss Peggy, then that's gonna stop. Remember, I told you guys I have about 6 boxes of Christmas cards over there. Maybe I'll just take them out and decorate stuff with them, because that's what they're supposed to be for, right?
Yeah,
This is something, they can be labels. Also, you could use those as labels,
Right. Yeah.
Label.
Labeling. Yep. That's so true. Labeling different things. So, but Miss Peggy,
Naomi.
my hat goes off to you, Miss Peggy, for still continuing to do that, because that's a tradition that so many have let go. So kudos to you.
So,
Go ahead, Naomi.
Naomi. Yeah, I I send out cards, but I send them to the military. So I have a friend who's in the military, and he's given me actually several website that you can visit and just send cards to soldiers who may not necessarily have any family or friends that send them anything. So a girlfriend and I went and I think we might have taken selfies, honestly, and put a filter where we have antlers on. And we had cards made with our picture that just said, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. And we split them in half, and she took half and I took half, because I actually have a stamp with my name and my address on it. So it's easier for me to just stick the card in, feel for, the closure on the back of the envelope where it comes to a point. And then I put my stamp there of my,
That's neat.
Yeah,
That's a shortcut.
That's a good idea.
I've done that in the past. Yeah, I've done that in the past too.
The soldiers, the website, do you have that?
I do. I can send it if you guys want.
Yeah, and I'll send that in the follow-up email if anybody would like to do that. I think that's awesome.
I think so too.
I grew up an Army brat. We traveled. I met a lot of young soldiers my dad would have over to the house at Christmas or something, who were there without family. And
yes,
right. So, yeah, I mean, I can sure relate to that. I think that's awesome.
I know, and my daughter is my daughter is an actual soldier, and she does that too, where she brings her friends from that don't have anybody during the holidays. So that, I think that's an awesome idea too. I would love to do that too.
It's just so the friend of mine I went to high school with, and he went off into the Army after we graduated. He said, I still have the card when someone sent me one when I was enlisted. He's
oh wow.
Like a very high ranking officer now.
Right.
I think he's out of Alaska or something crazy. I don't know. But he said it really does mean something to them to receive a card.
Yeah, or like a dinner or something, especially, they're going to remember that for years and years to come.
Yeah.
Only
yes, I will send it.
And that goes for what I was saying earlier to Sonia. Something that's, Naomi, and I'm sure you can agree, that didn't take much at all.
Oh,
right?
no, we made a little party out of it. We made s'mores and hot chocolate and made it fun.
But look at the impact it can do, even if it's just to put a smile on, just to make somebody feel good during these times. Because let's not forget, we remember holiday season is great for many of us, but it's also a terrible time for many. So,
it's a hard time to be alone.
Right,
Yes.
exactly. So something so small, a small gesture that,
Yep.
we could take for granted. It's put a huge smile on somebody's face. So good. Thank you for doing that too. That is good. But let's spread that. Let's share that around. I would love to. This is the person who's saying I would love to do that. That won't even send out my own Christmas cards. But
We just
I'm
found you a whole lot of
That's
people
the
send Christmas
right.
cards
inspiration you
to.
need. That's the
Exactly.
inspiration you needed.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for that. So, okay, is there anything else before, we do have a door prize to give out before the top, but before we do, I just want to make sure we all have had the chance to get out their tips, suggestions, ideas, questions, anything you may have that we can get answers from others. There's a few of us on here. And Miss Peggy, I didn't know that you were on there quietly because I would have asked you questions a long time ago because I know you are that crafty person. So, but I'm glad you came and spoke up, and thank you for joining us too. So
Oh, I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, Ron, I think that's it. Did you want to take over and
Well, I will draw for the door prize, and this is a door prize being donated by the Blind Professionals Network. So thank you for that.
Yes, you're welcome.
So do you have anything in particular you're giving, or?
So here's the thing, you guys. In the value is $25, and we do Amazon and Walmart and all that. But whoever does get that, even if they wanted a Cash App prize, we could do that too, because it's at the end of the day, it's the same thing. But I want to make it very convenient for the winner.
All right.
So
So
once the winner,
$25, whichever format that's going to be.
exactly right.
Okay.
So let's do it that way.
So the lucky winner is Peter McKenzie.
And do we have a Peter McKenzie?
Peter, are you here?
Hey.
Hey, Peter. How are you?
Yeah, I was just listening quietly.
Congratulations. You're the big winner. Merry Christmas. Thanks for being here with us today.
Yeah.
And I will let Victoria get in touch with you on best way to what your choice of what you get here.
Yes, Peter, if you're once we wrap up here, if it's okay, I can get your phone number from our registration. I can give you a call. I could email you and see what you want to do. Is that okay?
Okay, sure.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Congratulations. And
yes, thank you all so much for coming as well. It was a great discussion, great topics.
It's been fun, and I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. From myself, my family, and from HAVIN. We hope the next year is even better than the one we've had in the past. We've had a great year in light of everything. So we're glad y'all are here with us today, and thank you everybody for your participation, not just being here. Those of y'all who chimed in, because otherwise it'd be just Victoria and I talking. And heck,
yes,
I love you, Victoria, but
I know. I get tired of hearing me too, so I'm glad somebody else spoke up. I get tired of me too. So, but hey, do I actually get to say see you next year? Because we won't be. I can, yes. So I will see you all next year. Thank you guys so much.
Bye, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Oh, and Happy New Year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Merry
Bye-bye,
Christmas.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Document. Inbox dash Griller. Sarah data left parent need folder right parent. Documents. 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 Close attendee dash Zoom dash Google Chrome. Alert. Nobody has left the meeting. Items view alert. iPhone deputy has left the meeting. Alert. Forum already.
Go ahead and go, thing.
All right. It's just two of us now. You off, Victoria? Okay.